Well, first of all, I think, especially with people of my generation, but I think of every generation, American cinema is the basis of film love, you know, because it's, for one elementary thing, is that it dominates the whole world in terms of distribution. And also, it's not only that, because, I mean, for instance, the USSR dominated half of Europe and nobody went to see the Russian films. So it's not because you have imperialism that automatically people want to see your films. They have to be good. You know, so the Czechs or the Poles didn't go to see these Russian films, where most of the time were pretty bad. It's good to start with American films. It teaches you not, first of all, not to bore people, audience, and to have a sense of rhythm and also a relation to reality. Among the best American films, there is a very strong relationship with the country. I mean, when you go to New York for the first time, or if you travel to the West, it's very familiar, because America had the talent to, in its cinema, to relate to the country, to the history, to the social problems, to the landscape, and it's something very fascinating. There is a relationship, very strong relationship between American cinema and America itself. I don't believe that you have to know America, American culture or American history to appreciate American cinema, because American cinema makes you know precisely this country. I mean, when you have a film like There Will Be Blood, you know, which is, I think, very popular film that had millions of spectators and won an Academy Award. I don't know of any, perhaps any film from any country last year who reflected so much about what the country is. You know, even Gomorrah, which is a very good Italian film, which I really like, I don't think it is as much about Italy as There Will Be Blood is about America. I mean, the basis of There Will Be Blood is money and religion, you know, greed and God, mammon and God. And this is the basis of America, you know, and Paul Thomas Anderson in that film shows what America is about, you know, in a very critical way. It's an indictment on these values, an indictment of the preacher and the capitalist. But these are the people who have made America. And this is what I mean, that when American cinema is at its best, whether it is Citizen Kane, or whether it is Greed by Stroheim, or whether it is There Will Be Blood, you have an intensity of reflection on the mythopoetic foundations of the nation. I liked No Country for Old Men, for instance. I think it's also absolutely a fantastic film. I liked the two Clint Eastwood movies, The Changeling and Gran Torino. I liked, in spite of Americans' sarcastic comments, Woody Allen comedy, which, like all comedies, will be appreciated in 25 years by intellectuals, because they would have certainly disliked Lubitsch or Billy Wilder in their time. So I think American cinema is the cinema which is the greatest need of reappraisal, because now except if you are from Sundance, like, you know, films like Wendy and Lucy, which is hailed as the best film in the world by Film Comment Gallup poll, you know, Wendy and Lucy has become suddenly the masterpiece of the year, which for me is absolutely ridiculous, you know. And
why do you say so? What is it about that film that bothers you?
Because I think it doesn't bother me. I think it's a very nice, small, independent film, you know, but kind of road movie, which, like the one before that she made, which is absolutely, I mean, certainly you have to respect it, but to put it as the best film of the year in the whole world, it's, for me, ludicrous. It never happened to Kubrick. It never happened that one of his films was selected as the best film of the year. And I think he's a greater director, you know. So I think it's because it's like Robert Altman. I mean, all the great personalities, or John Cassavetes, or Orson Welles. I mean, my God, Orson Welles was dismissed so many times. I think the great personalities always have encountered a lot of difficulties to be accepted. This selection is made really to show not automatically the films that we champion most, because we could have shown Altman, Scorsese, Coppola, Terrence Malick, right, whom we championed early. We were among the first to champion these people, or even Stanley Kubrick. But we chose more to show films which have been really neglected, And we wanted in this program to show films, first of all, sometimes films that were unique, because the director could not make a second film. This is the case of WANDA by Barbara Loden, and the case of The Honeymoon Killers by Leonard Kastle, which are absolutely exceptional films, and it makes you melancholy that these people never had a chance. Then we have very often first features, these two of course, but also Blue Collars and Fingers, which are also films by screenwriters who decided to make their first feature and who had already an experience in cinema and who wanted to make films that would belong to them. They were not interested in probably making some money because they earn their living as a screenwriter. So these films have a strong personal commitment, and they are rather exceptional also in the context of American cinema. And then, as you say, True Confessions, which is from a theatrical director who has made few films, and we found that in this film it's as good as a lot of the films which Robert De Niro and Robert Duvall has made. And there is also the film by Schatzberg, Reunion, which is again another kind of adaptation from a book and shot in Germany, and which is also rather unique. And Another Day in Paradise, which does not fit with the image that Larry Clark has given about all these films about kids, which are of course wonderful, but we thought it was more interesting to show a film which belonged to the thriller, to the genre, and also to create even inside this selection the kind of thread, a red thread between all these films, which are very often linked to the criminal film, which is a genre which has always given possibilities for directors to experiment in style, because they grip their audience with the script, with the story, and therefore they can indulge in some aesthetic things which would not be accepted in a more traditional kind of genre like comedies or like dramas and so on.